and welcome to another episode of FooBar. Today we are going to add cloud storage and then a CloudFront distribution to an existing application. In this way we will decouple our storage from our backend and we will be able to scale and handle the files in an independent way. This video is part of a longer series of videos, and if you're interested in learning more about this series, stay until the end where I tell you everything. In this video, we will learn how to migrate from an existing local storage, and this local storage can be, in this case, is in a Lambda function, it can be in a container, it can be an EC2, it can be on-premise, it doesn't matter, but basically the idea is that the storage is within your backend. And the idea is to decouple that storage. In this case, we are talking about image storage, but it could be video, it could be any kind of other files that we want to distribute. And we want to decouple it from our application. Why we want to do that? Well, the files have their own life cycle and they have requirements of storage. If we have them in our backend, we will need to scale our server, in this case, or whatever we are using, storage capabilities in order to support the amount of files that we need to store. If we are using S3, as we are going to migrate, this will be handled automatically. Also, when we have our files inside our backend, we need to scale out our backend in order to support the request and the traffics that this image getting and requesting and downloading and saving and all that traffic related to the images in this case, it's putting in our backend. If we upload it to S3, S3 will take care about that scaling up and down. And the best of all benefits is that if you have all your files in S3, then you can add a CloudFront distribution on top, and then you can basically take advantage of the global CDN and you can get your files faster to your customers. If you don't know what CloudFront is, I have a video about it. I'll let you the link in the description box, but I will assume you have an idea what it is. So let's get started with the code. I will show you a little bit on what is going on now. This application has the images stored inside the Lambda functions. We are getting them from there. There is an API that basically retrieves the images from the Lambda function. And you can see that the images are there. The problem with Lambda functions is that I cannot upload a new image because the images kind of don't get there, but well. This could be any kind of application, so just showing it with Lambda because I like Lambda, but you could do it with anything. So this application is part of a migration series I mentioned. I will leave you the link in the description box where you can find all the code. I work in the backend in different stacks. So each of the video in the migration series is a different stack. And in this video, basically, we are creating a new stack. So if you go to the original backend application, you will see that there is this upload folder and there are all the files that are uploaded. So if we want to put a new file, we need to redeploy the Lambda function in this case. Not very practical. So we will go and create a new stack. I'm using AWS CDK to work with my infrastructure as code because it's way easier, but you could do anything, any other infrastructure as code language. So I will create a new storage stack, and this is the stack that we are going to be working within this video. And this storage stack has some kind of dependencies. In this case, AWS S3 is our main dependency, and it's the one that we are going to get started with. I'm passing a stage into all my stacks, so then I can build a pipeline with different environments. So just ignore that for now. And then I'm basically extracting a couple of variables from the stack, the bucket name and the bucket ARN, Amazon resource name, so we can use it in different other stacks to make this application work. So the first thing I'm going to do is to create a bucket, and I will put a name to the bucket so then I know more or less how it's defined. I will call it the stage name backend file upload bucket. The thing with bucket names is that you need to find a name that is unique. In this case, I hope. But yeah, so That's the third thing. Then the next thing I need to do is, after I create the bucket, is define cores on my bucket. Because in this bucket, we will store images, and these images are going to get called directly from our front end. Then we are basically doing a cross-domain thing. Our bucket is in one domain, our images in another domain. So we need to basically allow cores and add all these. I always put asterisk, but if you want to be more secure, put the right URLs and then you will be fine. But this course is very, very important. And then there is some headers that we want to expose there, but this is up to you. And then when we have that, then it says exporting those two values, the bucket name and the bucket Amazon resource name, ARN. And that's all we need in our storage stack for now. Later we will create the distribution in here. So now I go to my definition of my application, where all the stacks are invoked and are created. And here I will add the storage at basically the top. It will be my first stack to get created. And when I'm defining the storage, then I will be passing the configuration of the stage and then a name as well. So now I will put the name as the others, like the stage, and then some backend, some storage stack. So then when we are done, we need to pass those values of the bucket ARN to the Cognito stack. So we are giving permissions. So we want to give permissions to our web users, the guest, and the registered users to be able to fetch the images. So this is very important. So we are going to pass the storage bucket ARN. So then we can create a role with that policy in place. So that's important. So in the Cognito stack, you will be able to see that we are going to create this policy with the capability of accessing this bucket. So that's important, and we want to give an exact bucket ARN, and we are allowing only the get. So this is a read access that we are going to give to the guest users, and then we are going to give write access to the authenticated users. In this way, the authenticated users are able to upload images and the guests are only able to see the images. And then basically we can just modify those roles and add those inline policies to the anonymous role and to the role with the authenticated user. So in this way, you can see how things are connecting my bucket. Now my role has the right permissions. My user will have the right permissions to access those images. And then I will be able to upload them and read them from there. That's good. If you want to know how this Cognito authentication is built, I'll leave you a link with the authentication in the migration playlist. You will be able to find it all. Then another of the stacks that will need this bucket information is the Amplify stack. The Amplify stack is where our frontend is hosted. This Amplify application, and again, there is a video about it, is where we are hosting our web application, our React application, that basically it will be the one accessing these files and doing the upload and download of these files. So we want to give access, so it will need the bucket name in order to know to which bucket connect. So we are going to pass that parameter to that stack, and then we are going to pass that parameter as an environmental variable to our frontend. So then when we configure the frontend, then we will have that bucket name. So I will not talk too much on the details on how to configure the frontend environmental variables. I have a full video on that, but that's important to do. Now we can deploy these stacks. We need to basically deploy them all because we have touched them all. Well, not all, but almost all. So I just deploy all the stacks. And when this is ready, we can continue with the next bit. So now everything is deployed, and what we can do is to go to our AWS account, and in there we can go to the bucket that this was generated, and you can see here that it has a very long name because this is auto-generated by CDK. But yeah, so that's the name of the bucket, and then we can see that there is nothing inside a bucket. What we can do here is to create a new folder. I will call this folder uploads. What we will do in here is create first a public folder, because Amplify works that when you're using the libraries, it will just have the public folder for public information that will be accessible to all the users. And then within the public folder, we will create the upload folder. And this upload folder is because the information inside the Lambda functions is inside this upload folder. And we can see in the database that the path for this data is the upload folder. So I will create the upload folder. And if you want to understand why I'm doing this, then you can go, in this case, to my Mongo cluster. That is where I have the data. Open one of the products, and there you will see that this has the images, and the images are in the upload folder. So I'm doing this in this particular way because I don't want to touch that much my application. I want to just change things here and there to migrate my application to the cloud and not really change how everything is working. It's more a lift and shift migration with some touch. And in this case, I don't want to go through all the products to change them. So I'm just creating that folder. That's the main reason. So now I will basically upload all the images I have in my server with exactly the same name as they are in the backend into S3. So now we basically have migrated our content because it's in the same path and with the same name. Then when we do the change, the backend will know exactly which image is which product. So now after it finished, now we are going to work on our front-end application. Our front-end application in this case is a React application, is hosted in Amplify, but all the infrastructure is built with CDK, as I show you in the backend. So here there is no Amplify magic. If you want to know more about this, check that migration playlist. But for now, we have a file called user actions that is basically where we are putting all our APIs and all like the connections to the backend and to the cloud. So this is the kind of interface to from our front end to our backend. And in here, we already have the Amplify library. We have been using it for the authentication part. So now I'm importing the storage module here. So that's what first thing I'm doing. We want to use that storage module to fetch those images. So what I will do next is to work on the upload image part. So now it's calling an endpoint within my backend service that is doing the upload and it's putting the image in the server, but we want to change that to use the storage module. The storage module, what we'll do is grab a name and a file and then put it where it's configured to put it. That's as simple as possible. And this is using Amplify. So one thing we need to do is to configure Amplify. I will show you how to do that in a second. But basically we need to change a little bit the place where this upload image is called, because before we were passing a little bit more information and now we just need the file basically. That's the only thing we need in order to make this work. One important thing, because S3 folders are just prefixes. One important thing, because S3 folders are just prefixes in the file name, is because we want these files to be in the upload folder. We will prefix all the files with the uploads. Then we look for where this upload image is used, and we can see that is in the file upload.js. And we basically need to refactor a little bit this in order to just pass the file. The file is there, so we just remove that form. We don't need it anymore, and we pass the file. and that's it. So basically, I try to remove, to touch as little as possible the original application, but in some cases we just make it cleaner. And this is one of those cases. So now we have configured so now we have created the connection between the storage and the storage S3 and the frontend, but we need to configure the Amplify that we are using this library, the storage library, with the right bucket. So we have one file called AWS config, and this is the Amplify file where Amplify will know where to find different resources. We have an authentication configuration that's for Cognito, and now we need to create a new one for storage. So here we are going to pass the bucket name and the region in which that bucket is created. And how we are getting those things? Well, we are getting them in the build process. Do you remember in the backend that we passed this environmental variable, this bucket name, as an environmental variable? Well, now this variable is available in the Amplify hosting, and when in the build process, we can have this Amplify YAML that will execute and will grab those environmental variables and will pass them to React application. So we basically need to add one more here. We have done that for the Cognito information and for the URLs and whatever we need. So here we just grab the bucket. And because we like to test this locally, I just have my m.file, and there I'm basically adding the bucket name as well. Now can I start this locally, because we can test this locally with no problem. And I can see that if I upload an image, I can basically see an error, but that's okay because something is going on. But it seems that things are being uploaded. And to verify, the best way to do it is to go to the bucket and see if the image is uploaded. So we go to the S3 bucket, and there I refresh and I see there that the image that I just uploaded is there. So that's good. Now we need to play a little bit and make this user interface better. One thing we have done is to upload an image, but we have not gotten the image. We have not retrieved the image from S3. So here you can see that there is the broken image because we have not done that. It's still using the old way of retrieving images. So we can fix that. So one thing I will do in order to fix this, I will use the concept of an S3 image. And I will use that S3 image in wherever I'm using a traditional image. And while I will create this S3 image component, because I want to basically use the Amplify image. Later on, we will be using another thing, but for now I want to use this React component that basically I don't need to know much about of the image, just the name, and then I can just get the image. So I'm just installing this library, the Amplify UI React. Don't do the legacy, it's just the React, and then I'm getting that that capability of using the Amplify S3 image. This is not the final product, you will see it later, but this will allow me to fetch the image from S3 without really needing to handle sign URLs or anything like that, and with no much pain in my brain. So this is great. So now basically my Amplify, I configure it with the information from the AWS config that I just showed you. And then I have the component Amplify S3 image. And then I give the image key, basically the name of the file. And then I give some styles and alt text, and that's all I need. And this is very simple to use. So that's why I created this component. So now I can use this component in different parts of my application. In this case, where I'm uploading an image and then I'm basically fetching right away to show it that the image is uploaded. And I can basically also use it in the product page, in the landing page, and wherever images are needed. So let's see it in use here. So I'm basically going to where the image is happening, and I'm going to replace all that with my S3 image and the right parameters. So here you can see that I'm passing the image, and then different styles and the product alt. So that's good. I will do this with every bit that needs to be changed, so we come back when this is done. So now all the changes are done. I push to GitHub, so I don't test localhost anymore. Now my Amplify application is deploying, and when this is deployed, we can go and test it. And now you will be able to see that, whoop, now all my images are here. Then I can basically upload images now. These are the images in the cloud. I have my images and everything is good. So you can see that all the images are in place and everything is coming from S3. So the last thing I want to do in this video is to show you how to use a CloudFront distribution. And for that, I'm going to go to my storage stack and I'm going to add a new distribution. And the first thing I'm going to do is add an export thing, because we are exporting the distribution domain name. We need it everywhere, so that's something I'm going to export. And then basically I'm going to create the distribution. So what we have now, well, we have this. We have an Amplify application that gets all the information from the Lambda function, and the Lambda function gets all the raw data from the Mongo Atlas. We have Cognito that it's allowing to authenticate and authorize, and we also do it for the Lambda function. And then we have the Amazon S3 that basically allows you to read and write images. So what we want to do now, well, we want to change that a little bit and add a CloudFront distribution. Now we want to write images to the bucket and then read images from the CloudFront distribution. Not that many users are going to write, so that's okay. But everybody's going to read, and they are going to read multiple images at the same time, and we want that experience to be fast. So now we are going to add that CloudFront distribution, and the first thing we are going to do in our backend is to tune our storage stack by adding the distribution domain name as export variable, and then we are going to create the distribution in there. So we have the bucket configuration, and after the bucket, we are going to basically define the distribution. So defining a distribution is very simple. We need to give a name, and then we need to give an origin. That's all we need. We can do way more things, but with these small parameters, that's enough. So that's basically what I'm going to do for now. I'm going to set the S3 as the origin and create a new distribution, and that's it. Then what we can do is we can deploy this. This deployment will take a while because the distributions are quite slow to create. But after this is deployed, then we will be able to change a little bit our front end in order to use the distribution. Don't forget to export the distribution domain name, because we will need it in our Amplify application in order to fetch the images from the right place. So I will be passing that distribution into the Amplify stack. So the Amplify can then pass it as an environmental variable to the React application. So here it is, and then we are passing it as an environmental variable. Then we deploy these two stacks, the storage and the Amplify, and then we can basically go to the front end and tune this. So now in our front end, the first thing we are going to do is to add that and Amplify YAML that distribution domain name, so we get it. And then in our emp file, we are going to add as well that distribution domain name so we can test locally. I will talk about this in another video, but for now we just continue there. Then, because we want to just read images from the distribution, we don't want to write. The only thing we need to modify is that S3 image that we have created previously. Now we want that S3 image to basically connect to the distribution. So what we are going to do here is we are going to replace the S3 image with the CloudFront image, and this CloudFront image has a method called the build image path that you can see that is building an image URL. The first part is the React app distribution name that is coming from the environmental variables. Then we have an image path, and this is basically the public part because we want to get these images from the public part and they will be in the public folder. So we need to pass that image path. This is just how the S3 bucket is organized. And then basically we are going to pass the name of the image, and this way we have the URL for our images. And basically then we are building a normal image type, like normal, no more the Amplify legacy thing. We are just getting an image and passing as a source this path that we are building, and then the style and the props of a normal image. And in this way we can just replace wherever we are using this S3 image. We just remove it and we replace it with the new CloudFront image, and it should be working. So I will do that wherever it needs to be done, and then I can show you how it works. So now we go to my local host because I'm testing locally, and I can see there is images. I can go to my home and the images are loading. I can click on an image and the images are loading. Everything is fast because CloudFront is very fast. So basically I can just log in and log out and play around, and everything is working very well. So I could deploy this to the cloud in a while and then test it out, but well, it will work exactly the same. So that's the video for today. If you like it, give it a like. If you like this type of content, I show you one specific problem in its context, let me know. I want to do more about this. And as I mentioned you at the beginning, this part is a longer series of videos where I show you how to migrate an existing application to the cloud. This application I'm migrating is what is called MERN application, a MERN stack application, Mongo, Express, Node, and React. But a lot of the things I'm showing you individually can apply to any kind of web application. In this series of videos, you will find shorter videos like this one, where I tackle one particular problem and solve it. And then you will find longer videos where you see the whole migration step by step. In the description box of this video, you will be able to find a link to that playlist. I'm uploading the videos as this video is out. So if you go there and there's few videos, the playlist is not ready yet. Or if you're watching this in the future, then go and check it and you will find everything. Just remember to subscribe because more content like this is coming. I've been doing this for many years, so you can know that more content will be coming. And I see you next week with another episode of FooBar. Ciao, ciao!